Friends, yesterday is the time of filming this video. Yen Press came out and said, hello, Shoujo community, we have a Christmas gift for you. And so, the day before this video needs to go live, I am refilming this video because, y'all, I had to change up what is my top 10 most anticipated shoujosei manga of next year. Hello friends, happy Saturday. So very excited that you're here. Pretty wild that I'm refilming this video, but honestly I'm pretty happy because the first time I filmed it, I didn't realize how bad the camera quality was because it was so cloudy, so dark, and so rainy. And honestly, I thought I filmed that first video far out enough that I wouldn't have to worry about refilming. But then, like I said, Yen Press came out Friday and they said, hey, we are serving up this manga that's on your license wish list. And I said, okay, checking it off. And don't worry, if you're curious of the wins I've gotten this year and what my license wish list is going to be for 2026, next Saturday I will actually be posting that video, so please stay tuned for that, and I'll also be refilming that one as well. But let's go ahead and dive right into my top 10 most anticipated shoujosei releases of 2026. But let me tell you first, we gotta do our honorable mentions, and that's my manhwa, because yes, the first one is The Makeover Remover, and don't worry, I won't talk much about these. This is coming out from Inklore. It's already up for pre-order. I believe everything but the final one that I'm gonna be talking about is up for pre-order already, but I have been so excited for this ever since I heard about it, which was sometime around the announcement of the anime for True Beauty. People are like, this one they felt was better and the story was more engaging. Now, I have read a little bit of True Beauty and I liked what I read overall, but this one, I don't know, my expectations are so high and I truly hope it doesn't let me down. The other one, not your typical reincarnation story. I've talked about this in a few different reading wrap-up videos because I was reading the chapters when we got that physical license announcement. Y'all, I binge read that entire weekend. It is so engaging and I cannot wait to read this again in physical form. If you are a fan of villainous stories, you must check out this one. Everybody who recommended this to me was on point and I can't thank them enough for influencing me to definitely check it out, read it, and now I'm going to be picking it up physically next year, and it comes out around my birthday and I'm very, very excited. But now we'll go into the manga portion. I had to feature just that manhwa because I love my manhwa very, very much, y'all. I love it so very much. So we're going to rewind and I'm going to be working from the ones that got announced at the beginning of the year and are going to be coming out, I guess, as the year goes on. I guess you would say that. I don't know. I was just going to do it from when they were first announced, more or less. Wait. Pause, okay? I need to address what's going to be an elephant in the room now. I just want to say right now, you're not going to see Mars, the special edition that's coming from Kodansha. You're not going to see that in my top 10. Please do not think I'm not excited for it, okay? I actually have a video review on this manga. It was sort of my very first manga that I ever read where I knew that it was manga, and I came back to it a few years ago thanks to Prime Reading, and I loved it. I am planning to pick up the physicals. There's just other things I'm personally more excited for, but I just don't want anybody coming out and say, Laura, how dare you not include Mars, when it's a big deal and I am really, really thankful that we got it. Just had to put that out there so nobody comes for me in the comments because, y'all, I am excited. And again, if you're curious about my thoughts on it, because I definitely feel that has one of the best villain characters I've ever read in shoujo manga, then please go check out that video and how it impacted me because it's a very powerful kind of story. But now we'll officially dive into number one, which was back in January, and that is Betrothed to My Sister's Ex. And I am talking about the manga specifically, though 7Cs at the time did license the light novel as well. I haven't seen the anime, but I believe it was when we got the anime announcement that I went and looked more into this, because I will tell you right now, the reason I'm most excited about this is because biracial relationship. That is something very important to me. I love seeing that part of my real life, my marriage with my husband, represented in manga, when I feel it is so very rare in shoujosei manga. So if you ever have Rex, please do not hesitate to let your girl know, because I love seeing that in manga so much. But from what I gather, because I don't know if I mentioned, I haven't seen the anime. I purposely have been waiting for the manga, though I did see minor spoilers and I was okay with that. And I feel it to be right up my alley, but it's about a young woman who has been very mistreated in her home and something happens to her very gorgeous, very, I'm not going to say spoiled, she is spoiled, but her personality is very loving. Like, she deeply loves the female lead, her sister, but a tragic accident strikes. Her parents are like, okay, female lead, you're going to fill in, even though you're ugly, not cool, blah, 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 you know, all these negative things. you're gonna fill in for all these good things they gush about her sister. The plot twist, I believe, with this is she ends up meeting the male lead who is gonna be engaged to her sister, and he wants to marry the female lead. But there's the mix up with the whole sister thing, but when he finally meets her, he's like, man, this is the woman I wanted to marry, because he was trying to call off the engagement because he thought he was marrying her sister, and he's like, no, I don't want the sister, I want the female lead. And so it's a fantasy romance series, I believe. I don't think there's any magic, I'm not very sure, but I've loved everything I've seen about this, and I truly hope it's another series that lives up to my expectations, since I'm really holding off. Again, I'm watching that anime and really reading it for the very first time in manga form. Okay, I'm changing it up from what I said at the beginning that I was going to go through the year, because I realized for the timestamps it would make more sense to do it by publisher. So I only had 7Cs on my most anticipated list. So let's go ahead and dive in to Shoujo B. For them, Magical Girl Dandelion, yes, I gush about this all the time in my manga news videos. We even have a video review of volume 1 because you guys voted for it in my re-review Shoujo Spree at the beginning, or near the beginning of the year, and I love it so much. I've been so excited that we were getting this. It's about a young girl who really aspires to be a magical girl, but that's not a bad thing. Like, that's awesome. The thing is her best friend is a fiend. He is the bad guy, and when she has her powers bloom and she becomes the magical girl that she is, they are sort of like, well, you can't be friends with this fiend anymore. He's the bad guy. We're hunting them down. And she's like, no. No, I admire him, he's my best friend, and I'm not cutting him out of my life simply to be a magical girl. And so it's her story of tag teaming, working with the bad guy to help save other people. I have loved it so very much. It's definitely been a series. When I do those manga news videos and we talk about a new chapter, I have often said, pause this video and go read it, especially if you love magical girls. And I do have another magical girl series that I'm going to feature in this video. But oh my goodness, for the other Shoujo B one that we got is Daydream Darling by Iosaki Saka. Yes! I know there were several people not excited about this, but y'all, let me tell you, I was not one of them. I was overjoyed. I almost cried the day of the license announcements to see so much hate for this manga, and maybe it's typical, and maybe a lot of things, and I'm not denying that, but y'all, I have been wanting to read this manga. It sounds so good. It's about a young woman who is in this position. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it, but it seems that the male lead, that he seems to be a ghost. Now, this is not a supernatural romance because it's not tagged as one, so he has to be real, or he's, I don't know, like, if he's not real, then what is he? But the female lead seems to have a hard time speaking, so she talks to the male lead, but people can't see him or something along those lines, and I'm just so intrigued. Like, I can't wait! I can't wait! Mainly because it's an Iosaki Saka manga, and as you can see right here, I absolutely love her works. I didn't connect with Sakura Saku, but I'm wanting to actually come back because that was the first time I ever read an Iosaki Saka manga, trying to read it as it was releasing. Before that, I had binge read all of these, so I want to check it out from my library and give it a second chance because I really, really enjoy her work. She's one of the few manga creators that I'm like, okay, you can throw as much angsty at me as you want and I will still be seated because I know by the end it will have a happy ending. So not only because of the manga creator that I'm excited for this, but also I just want to know, is the male lead real? What is going on with this male lead? If it's not a supernatural story, I need to know all the other details. I need to know all of the other details. Talking about needing to know all the other details, because let's go on to Kodansha. And I've talked about this before on the channel, I'm pretty sure. We did my retro shoujo manga event earlier this year, spotlighting, talking about different retro shoujo manga. I had such a fun time during that video. One of the manga licenses of this year was Shugo Chara, the 20th anniversary edition. I have always wanted to read this. I have very strong, vivid memories of having an opportunity to pick up the singles for $100 or something and being really on the fence at that time because I just didn't have the extra money, but I wanted to read it, and so I decided not to. So when the license announcement came out this year, I was like, man, I am having a second chance. I'm not too familiar with this series. I know it's a magical girl manga. I read DNN Angel in November and I loved it. And so my anticipation and excitement for this manga has like significantly grown since DNN Angel was my favorite read read in November. I do know it's about a young girl who portrays herself, I think, being really rough around the edges, maybe a little punk-like or delinquent-like vibes, but deep down, that's really not who she wants to be. She wants to sort of be this pretty cute girl, and I guess that's where these eggs come into play and the overall story that I know of. I'm sorry I can't like build up. I feel like we just sort of went down there when I didn't know how to finish that sentence, but that's all I know. I have been sort of purposely trying to go in blind with this series. I have unfortunately seen more negative things about it concerning a possible age gap romance or relationship, so I'm trying to stay open-minded just because I'm so excited for this manga and I would like to give it a fair chance and form my own opinions, and I genuinely hope that I enjoy it because I am planning to get the sequel that was also licensed during that time, which was Jewel Joker. I'm planning to pick them both up at once. Don't worry, I'm not planning to read both of them though. I'm gonna wait to, try the main series, and if I like it, then eventually I will read the spinoff or the sequel to the series. And again, I hope I love it because I love the cover and it just seems like a really cute and great time, and I'm thriving trying these magical girl, magical boy manga that are sort of like classic and nostalgia. Fingers crossed that it will continue to be something I really love, especially with this series next year. I forget what number that we're on, but the next one is Hitting Rewind with You. This is another series coming from Kodansha, and I'm really excited. I actually don't know an overwhelming amount about this. It wasn't even on my license wish list, but I've had at least 2 or 3 people say, this is a Lara coded series and you need to go read it because you're gonna love it. And I said, okay, and I trust the people who told this to me. I'm like, I'm gonna go read it because you said I'm gonna love it and we have very similar tastes, so that's all I need, honestly. I mean, I can't do that for every single manga, but it did sound like it was up my alley. I believe this is a 5-volume series because it did in the later part of the year. It is about 2 main characters who are in college, and I guess neither one of them, or at least specifically for the female lead, she did not get to experience the typical, again I say that with quotes, the typical things of high school. I sort of associate with if somebody missed out on going to prom in the US and they didn't have that special high school thing that everybody does. It's a big deal. And so she missed out on those things for some reason, and something is happening at her college. Like I think there's some kind of day where you could like dress up. And so she dresses up as a high school student. And I got the impression maybe that the male lead is also doing the same thing, but I know it's their romantic love story. And again, I really have enjoyed everything I've seen with this series. I haven't seen too many actual spoilers outside of like what the magazine shows of like, hey, here's the color page, or here's like 2-3 pages from this month's chapter. That's really about all I've seen, but I have enjoyed everything I've seen with it. So I'm sort of, I guess, yeah, going in blind because it's not something that was originally on my radar, but hey, I'm sold and I hope I love it. The last one that I have from Kodansha is Perfectly Fine on My Own, So My Fiance Can Twist in the Wind. So my friend Phantom actually influenced me with this. I didn't have it on my license wish list originally, but then I heard about it, or she told me about it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this sounds amazing. And when Kodansha picked it up, I was so excited. The reason I'm personally most interested in it is because our female lead, she's in a relationship. It sounds like she can't break up for whatever reason. And yeah, she's in this relationship and she's really being put off by her boyfriend. Like her boyfriend isn't necessarily cheating on her, it seems, but he's choosing like this princess to serve her. I don't know if he's a guard, but he serves her in some kind of way. And so he's continuing to do this while pushing his girlfriend fiance to the side. And I guess she comes to a point where she's like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go do things on my own, whether he's here or not. I'm assuming that means like going to a dance. Like she may not have a partner, but hey, she went. And so my guess is, and I think the blurb actually said that, is that the more she gets used to this, the more her boyfriend is like, the more her fiance is like, where's my fiance? She's not asking me to do this with her or go here with her. And he, I'm assuming, is gonna be changing his tune right quick, guessing that he does actually like her. And I don't know if she likes him, but I get the impression that she did and that she feels hurt, and so she's just now doing things by herself rather than asking him. So I want to know how this story unfolds. I think it's a romance, but I don't really know what the romance entails. Is it between them? Does their relationship change for the better? Does she end up leaving him? Again, another series I have a lot of questions for or about and want to see how it unfolds. And this is a very true for this next one. And shout out to the person, I don't remember remember who it was. I actually featured this upcoming manga that's coming from Yen Press. I featured it in a thumbnail, this one here, earlier this year, talking about manga that I would love to see picked up. And it did by Yen Press! And that is my super cute black mage. Oh my goodness. So I have read this in the Haunted Tsuyume magazine, and I have loved what I've seen so much. It's about a young woman who is a mage at this academy, and she's sort of like I believe she is a senpai. If not, in the dorm, she's in charge of everybody. I'm blanking on that name that they give her. But she has the male lead up under her, and he's really grumpy, not nice, not kind. I don't think he's causing problems, but he is causing trouble because he's being mean to other people. Something happens, she bumps into him, and when they have skin-to-skin contact, whether that's the hand or say the arm, she can hear his inner thoughts. His inner thoughts do not match with what he's saying out loud. I think the blurb mentioned or said that he's saying, oh my gosh, I hate you, you're so ugly, but in his heart, and she can hear this in her mind, he's saying, oh my goodness, you're so pretty, I love you. And I want to see how this difference is between them because that's so different. And again, everything I've seen in the Haunted Tsuyume magazine, I loved. Seems really funny. So yeah, I'm very much here. This was definitely one of my biggest wins of 2025, and I'm so excited. I think maybe I already have this on pre-order. I know I have it on my spreadsheet of things to pre-order if I don't already. I forget when this is coming out. I didn't even think about telling you when any of these come out because I was just so excited to talk about them and whatnot. Same as this last one. Oh my goodness. The title is Thank You for Taking Care of Our Boy Banri. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Yen Press, for picking this up. I remember discovering this by the mangaka and being on board for this because the female lead drives a motorcycle and she looks so cool. I saw the opening chapter. The creator saved it on Twitter, and you could go through the pages. It's all in Japanese, but I loved everything I've seen. I really think, based off of what I've heard and what I've read of the blurb and whatnot, if you like Taemin's B-side, there's a strong chance you will enjoy this because it's about our female lead where she finds herself helping her sister in a position to become, I don't think he's a singer or an idol, I think he's an actor. She's in this position where she gets to be his manager, and she has stanned him so hard, thinks he's really, really great, and then when she becomes his manager, she quickly finds out that his personality of how he projects himself is, or to the public at least, does not match his real personality, and she has a wake-up call very quickly. Now, unlike Taemin and Uda, I don't think there's no Mr. Gloomy Horror kind of vibes. I think he's just very grumpy in this series. Oh, but y'all, I've been so excited. I follow the creator. I mean, I have been following her, but I have just loved all of the art I've seen of it, and I've just been hoping so desperately that we would get it. And then when we got on Friday, I said, y'all, so it's time. We gotta redo this whole video. We gotta scrap it and come here and gush, because this must be included. This must be included. I was so excited. And of course, that was not enough because this is by, goodness, I don't remember what publisher it is. It's sort of like an indie publisher. They've been focusing on digital reads, but then they came out and they announced that they're going to be publishing May I Ask for One Final Thing physically, and oh my goodness. Once again, I'm so very excited and thankful. The anime, I believe, is still ongoing. There's only probably like 1 or 2 episodes left. I'm woefully behind, but I actually read volume 4 last week, I think it was, and I love this series so much. I love Scarlet. She is amazing, and it was such an incredible thing to get this physically published. It is a villainous series, and it is about our female lead who has really pushed down her desire to beat people up. When she gets engaged to the second prince, she pushes that down because the second prince is a total jerk. He is awful and treats her so bad, like horrible, where you will read about him and you will get so angry. And then it opens up in our typical villainous fashion where he's like, I'm breaking up with you, Scarlet, because you have treated my new lover poorly, and lists of lies of how she has supposedly done these things. And so, unlike most of our villainous ladies, though, who would just, walk away, instead, she says, okay, may I ask for one final thing? And that is to beat up all of you pigs here. And he's like, excuse me? But that's exactly what she does. She unleashes her fury and beats everybody up. And that is honestly why you're reading or watching this series, because you want to see who Scarlet is going to punch next. Maybe that sounds really bad, but I promise if you check it out, it is so action-packed. It's not really heavy on the romance. romance. I am shipping Scarlet though, not with that second prince. No. But I'm definitely hoping for some romance to become a little bit more prevalent as the series goes on. But for now, again, I'm just here to see what Scarlet's gonna do next and have a blast reading the series. And so yes, I will be double dipping because I need those physicals and I've already pre-ordered the first 3 physically. So yes, I am so excited. And last but definitely not least, this is coming from TokyoPop and I was flabbergasted when I saw this got picked up, and that is Apprentice Nail Artist in a Foreign Land. Y'all, before I was even in really to manga, I remember finding this online. Couldn't really find any information about it, but I remember reading the Japanese pages of chapter 1, thinking it was the coolest thing because at that time I had debated going to school to be a nail tech. I was being really encouraged by a great friend of mine and I love painting my nails. I paint them every week, would do these crazy designs and all those fun things. And so when I came across this series, I'm like, whoa, like there's a manga about nail art. And it just always stood, or like, I would say the back of my mind. Honestly, I never thought we would get it in English, so I didn't like dwell on it, but I remembered it. And when I saw that it got picked up, and we're getting an anime by the way, which was even more surreal, I was shook, y'all. I was shook because if I'm understanding and remembering the blurb right, it's about a young woman who, she gets like isekai, I don't want to say reincarnated because I don't think she dies or anything, but she gets isekai to another world and she is a nail tech, or she was in Japan. And then when she goes to this other world, her nail art abilities in creating these nail arts, that it gives the person wearing the nails some kind of magical powers. If not, they already have that power, but the nail art does something to enhance it based off of the design. And I was so intrigued by this premise. I know a few French friends who have actually read this and really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy it too. I know there's colored pages in the French edition because I've seen them, and I'm hoping that TokyoPop will go all out and give us those colored pages in the US edition as well. I do know for certain that I did pre-order this because when Books A Million had their buy one get one 50% off sale, oh yes, your girl stocked up and this was definitely one of them, and I am overjoyed to try this one. And as you can see, I'm overjoyed to try all of these. Oh my goodness, 2026 is shaping up to be such an amazing year for manga. My budget is gonna need to be raised. I don't know of any other solution because I don't want to cut anything because I'm just so excited for so many things. But I would love to hear from you friends. What are some manga titles that you are so excited for, or new licenses I should say? Let me know down below. Do we have any in common? Also let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!